Toph absolutely rhymes with tough. You don't have to take my word for it either. Michaela Jill Murphy, who voiced her, back then known as Jessie Flower, will tell you and vouch for how tough Toph actually is. At Momocon this year, I had the pleasure of sitting down in a press conference interview with her and able to talk to her about her favorite nerddoms, how she came to be in the voice role, what the role has meant to her, and the effect it's had on her life. Also got to talk to her about her writing and how her aspirations of being a screenwriter and getting awards for her writing one day and everything. Like, I don't even know why I'm telling y'all this. You already know why you're here, so just, we'll get to the intro. You can watch it for yourself. Like, I don't even know why I'm talking right now.
I did voice my own daughter for an episode in a flashback moment, so there was some of me sprinkled in there, but yes, mostly just Toph in Avatar, the original. So yeah, question away. Hello, sir.
Hello, John from the Awesome Cast. Thank you so much for making the time.
Of course.
What made you first take an interest in acting?
I think some people that say that you just are kind of born with the desire, born with creativity, not really sure. But I definitely feel that that was me. I was allowed to be very creative. My mother was very supportive and very sweet from day one, but I loved music. I loved dressing up. I loved clothes. I loved fashion. I loved dancing. I loved singing. My mother will tell you that I technically started singing before I could talk. I was humming to things and kind of following the melodies. So I just liked performing arts in general. And so I think around 4 years old, I was in Los Angeles at the time, and everybody kind of gets into it if they're at all interested in it, especially at that point in time. So a friend of mine was in a commercial, and I said, hey, that looks fun. Let's try that. And my mom put me in a musical first. She was like, before we get headshots, before we try to find an agent, before we do all this crazy stuff, let's just make sure that you actually like this stuff. And so she put me in a musical in a local community production, and I very much had the bug. It bit me hard, and she was like, all right, let's do it. So we got headshots done, and I started off in commercials. That was kind of the avenue through which I found voice acting, which after a couple years of commercials, I started voice acting because I went through an awkward growing phase, and my agent was like, hey, we have this new department called, youth voiceover, just specifically for kids. Let's give that a shot. And then the rest is kind of history from there. So I think I just liked performing. I liked feeling also like an adult when I was younger, not like completely grown up, but in adult spaces. I was like, I want to be in a room where things are happening, in the room where it happens, with just people who are connected to the world and like making real money and like making real art, not just at a school in a room where like nothing is really connected to the rest of the world. So yeah, I don't know. That's how it got started. So yeah. Hello.
Hey. Awesome answer. No, I don't really need a mic, but going on with Ignorant Authority. So the question I have for you is, what was your experience with the last Avatar? How was that for you?
My experience with Avatar: The Last Airbender is kind of crazy. I feel like it's similar to a lot of people who have watched it, because a lot of us remember seeing it when we were younger, and then, like 15 years passed, they put it on Netflix, and now we're all loving it again. So it's kind of been that way for me. I was 12 years old when I voiced Toph, or 12 and 13, I guess. And so I've grown up technically, chronologically, like where Toph would be age-wise now if she were real and alive. So I feel like I've grown and changed a lot. I went to college, I changed my major, I've dated a lot of people, broken up with them. It's just been, woo! So it's been lots of life changes. And so Avatar kind of coming back into my life and coming to, events like this, Momocon, and just lots of anime conventions around the country, hopefully soon the world. Hello, internationals, bring me, I will come to you. It's been just weird reflecting on like how much I've grown, and then seeing that the show is still just as good, but picking up on lots of different things that maybe I didn't when I was a kid. So kind of absorbing more of the adult themes, appreciating the family-friendly ones still, and just appreciating the really good storytelling. I ended up majoring in screenwriting in undergrad. I went to Yale University. I thought I was going to be a doctor, haha. And so I can really appreciate the art of Zuko, and just the brilliant writing that Mike and Brian did. So I think I just have a newfound perspective and appreciation of it. And back then I enjoyed working on it at the time, but it was very simple, and that's what makes it kind of nice. It wasn't like going into work being like, wow, I'm working on this Nickelodeon show. It was just like, oh, we all get together, you know, every other Tuesday, record our little bits, and then we see each other the next time. It was, you know, we didn't have Instagram yet, nobody had an iPhone quite yet. It was just a different little nugget in time before I feel like the whole world was just hit with like YouTube and Facebook and iPhones, and it all got crazy. So it's like it happened like right before that, because 2008 was like I think when the first iPhone came out. So yeah, that was like season 3 coming out. So it's like the timeline in my head is like that was before you had to have a following. You know, it's like that's kind of where my head is at for that stuff. But yeah, I guess that's kind of my journey with it. Hello.
Hey, my name is Nirav, gameluster.com. First of all, I'm sure I am the first person to ever say this to you, but I love Avatar.
That's good.
So yeah, it's probably my like favorite just thing that exists of all the things that there are. But I was curious, like after all this time, there's been that like resurgence for this fandom in the last few years.
Yeah.
Like, are you interested in like coming back to any of the future projects with Avatar Studios? Like they got that movie coming and other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you're an actor, you're always interested in being called back for a project.
That's
Any
fair.
project that they want me for, I will be there. I think they're going to be recasting for pretty much everything.
I heard that.
And I basically, you know, Mike and Brian do what they want. So it's not like people are going to clamor and be like, bring back the originals, and they're just going to change their mind. Not that I'm thinking that's going to happen, but they very much have like a vision and something that they feel is best for the show, and then they do it. So that's happened with the original. Like it was 3 seasons, and people were like, make a fourth, and they're like, no. They did make a new show, but they're like, this is the story. Like we're not going to mess with the integrity of the story to just give you a 4th season. So they have a vision, and when they execute it the way that they want to, it turns out well. I feel like we've seen that happen, you know, multiple times now. So I'm sad because of course I would love to come back and do stuff, but you know, I'll be cheering from the audience with everybody else. If they call me back for anything, I will be right there. I will I will drive my way, my 20 minutes over to the studio and gladly record. But yeah, I'm not expecting to be called back for anything. Although, you know, playing the Ember Island players in the live action on Netflix, if they do make it to season 3, would be fun. Somebody mentioned like
That's
having
such
the
a good
original
idea.
cast
I
like
did not even
being,
think of that.
yeah, then just like make a little cameo in the live action season 3. It's like, hey, that would be really cool. So we'll see.
All right, nice.
Yeah. Hello.
So your character is an earthbender.
Yes, she did.
But what bending would you want to have?
I'm a mix of earth and fire. No wind. That was a band reference joke. And I definitely am, yeah, a mix of earth and fire. For anybody who's into astrology stuff, not that I follow it aggressively, but I have like 2 fire signs and 1 earth sign in like my main 3. So I definitely am a little more fiery with then like a little bit of grounding underneath there, which I guess is a little bit contradictory because I'm constantly like, woo, but I'm like tied down at the same time. It's both. So it's a little interesting. But I think if I had to pick, I would still pick earth. I mean, I love the outdoors. I mean, I would very much sit in trees, climb trees, like run around on rocks barefoot, ideally with no clothes on, actually, was my preference as a child. Just get rid of all of it. It's all unnecessary. Yeah, there's a lot of similarity between me and my character, Toph. I mean, and the other ones too, I suppose, but definitely Toph. And yeah, so I would probably pick Earth still, even though I know that's a little bit of a cop-out, but I think it's pretty close to who I am on a day-to-day basis. I'd still be an Earthbender. Yeah, sure.
Toph definitely rhymes with tough.
Yes, that's right.
JBG versus the world. You having done this iconic character the way that you have over the years, what has been your greatest joy in having done that and having seen the reaction over the years?
Greatest joy in seeing the reaction to, I guess, just Toph, love for Toph over the years. It depends, because you get some people who are just so into the show that they're just so happy to be there. Like they're just standing there, like doing a little dance. They're kind of like screaming, they're like, I can't believe this is happening right now. Like, this is real, it's happening. Like, somebody punch me, whatever. And it's just funny and fun to like be around the excitement and the energy. And then you have people who it's just changed their life in like a really deep way. I mean, we just got out of a pandemic, so you have people who like watched the show with their parents, or maybe they lost a loved one and this was like their show. And so now they like watch the show and they miss their loved one. And I'm like, bro, that's insane. And so cool that this show can be both of those source of just like unbridled joy, but also be such a comfort for so many different reasons. And you know, we have Uncle Iro, who's everybody's therapist, right? And so we love him for that. And Toph has helped a lot of, you know, disabled, not just visually impaired, but anybody who just felt a little off, a little, you know, different than the norm, or disabled in any other way, just feel more comfortable, feel more empowered in kind of their differences. And that has been really cool to hear, especially as I get older and I can appreciate it more, because when I'm, you know, 12 and 13, kind of felt that, but like once, you know, you're in your early mid-20s and everything's imploding, you're like, whoa, I understand. So it's just been cool to see, I guess, the various aspects that this show could be so impactful, from, like I said, just kind of the super excitement to the like getting me through some really hard stuff, to inspiring artists and inspiring people to, you know, be creative, be themselves, be an individual, not be afraid to just kind of be quirky and be, you know, march to the beat of their own drum. Yeah, I guess that's been kind of the coolest part.
I really want to say show.
Yeah, see, there you go. You're welcome.
Hello,
Hello.
Robert from Blurredography. The boss couldn't be here, but he wants you to know that he thinks Toph is the best. I do too.
Dope.
But I have a different type of question.
Okay, hit me.
So I know you went to Yale and focused on writing. So, and I also saw that in 2021 you released, you wrote and directed Nostalgia.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So what challenges did that pose for you?
Yes, so I, in COVID, wrote and then directed, put together my first short film called Nostalgia, which is short for kind of like nostalgia. That was the aim. And it was basically just a project to finish. I put, you know, intention in it, and I wanted it to be good, but I have a hard time, as many who are perfectionists can probably relate to, just finishing things, because I know it's not where I want to be. Like, that's not the film that I'm going to submit to Sundance one day, right? But in order to get to that point, I have to just finish things along the way. Like, you have to finish the project, you have to learn from it, you have to do all the steps, and take, you know, the things away from it, and then be like, cool, I would adjust this, this, and this for next time, and then you move on to the next story. So it was a little bit of just a hard thing for me to actually finish, because even it was, you know, it's done, it's like 13 minutes, super cute. I had a friend of mine write like some original music for it. We submitted it to some festivals. It was like a finalist for a couple little small ones, which is cool. But I wouldn't want to use that as like this is who I am as a writer, because it's so not where I want to be and like what I think of in my head of like where I am. So it was kind of just a first step of like, I have this experience writing, I don't have experience really executing it, I need to just start executing. So that was kind of the inspiration slash how I still feel about it now. And then last year was crazy, coming to all of these conventions, and I was like, I'll go to these conventions on the weekends, and then during the weekdays I'll have time to write, maybe work on my next project. And I was so tired from it. You guys exhausted me. No, I'm just kidding. I know, but I was so tired from traveling and like coming to all these events that I had no brain energy, and I was like, whoa. Now I really understand why like writers really just are writers. I was like, why aren't people more things? Because there's just no brain space. There's no energy. It's so hard to do so many different things. So that made me really appreciate, I guess, the time it takes to really sink into a project, a script, from any perspective, a producer, director, writer, actor, whatever, because I just didn't have as much time last year as I thought I was going to have, because I just didn't have the energy to do stuff. I would be like neutral, like laying horizontal after a convention weekend for like 2 days, just like recharging, and my brain was mush, and I was like, I should be writing, and I'm like, but I'm eating soup and staring at the wall, like that was me. So yeah, I don't remember the exact wording of your initial question. I think I answered it at the beginning-ish, but did I? Okay, good. I was like, wait a second, making sure I did. But yeah, thank you for asking about that. I'm hoping to work on / finish an actual script that maybe I can start pitching as opposed to finishing, because I'm going to need other people to help me make this idea that I have now. I can't do it by myself, so we'll see.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Very relatable answer.
Of course, yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, hello, my name is Susie,
Hi.
and I have 2 questions for you.
Unacceptable.
One of them is actually for my little brother. So like when you're voice acting and you're in the recording room, do you actually like have to like physically like do the moves that Toph is doing, and how exactly does that work?
I think it depends. It depends and depended on the line. If I'm recording for a English words just went out of my brain. Recording for a video game, and we're in like a fight sequence. I'll be pretty physical, especially if there's a lot of different sounds, if it's a really intense fight sequence, because I need to physically separate the sound so I don't make the same sound like 3 times in a row, which I have a tendency to do. If it's like, I'm punching somebody, I can just go like, ugh, and so I need to like change the direction of like, ugh, or whatever, just so I can get my brain to think differently. Toph, they had some fighting scenes, but they were pretty scattered and there's other people fighting, so she didn't have like 10 fight efforts in a row, so I never had to get like super into it. I would kind of see the scene or see the layout of exactly what was happening, and it would kind of direct my attempt of sound, if that makes sense. And then our amazing director, Andrea Romano, who we all know and love, she's done so much, and I'm so sad that she's retired, but also good for her. She would be like, yeah, that's great, let's add a little more effort, or like, that's perfect, give 2 more like that just as safeties. Or she'd be like, you know, this one I think is supposed to be a little softer because right after your blow, this person comes in and hits a little harder. So she would just kind of, you know, navigate it gently. But in Avatar stuff, I don't think I was too crazy physical. It would maybe be like a little thing, like if her hand was doing this, I might do a little like that, you know, mini version, but nothing too crazy where I was like swinging stuff over my head or anything like that. So, yeah.
Okay, and then
She gets asked.
Yes.
Is like out of the characters that you voice acted for, out of Toph, Frankie Robinson, and who was Cha-Cha?
Cha-Cha? Yeah, Chaka. Yes, it sounds like Cha-Cha, but yeah, Chaka.
Who was like your favorite? Like, what experience like?
Yeah, between, so yeah, young Franny and Meet the Robinsons, she's probably my spirit animal of all the characters I've voiced. She's, you know, they're all sassy, that's a through line. So clearly me as a child, that was in there. My mother can attest. And she's just very smart. She loves science, she loves music, she likes frogs. I'm a big frog turtle girl, all good. You know, she's just very peppy, and she just has this kind of fierce determination. I think it's kind of funny, there's a similar character build to all of these girls that I voiced when I was younger, you know, Toph, Chaka, and Franny. They all just have this, like, I don't know, just undoubtable drive to like do whatever it is they're going to do. Like if they make their mind up, you're not stopping them, kind of. That's all of them have that kind of energy going on, which I like to think means that since I was a kid, you know, you can act as a kid, sure, but it's also just a lot of raw personality, and that's why watching kids act is so great, because there's not a lot of thought, they're just being. And so I like to think that that's kind of in my programming, which helps me when I'm in weird moods, especially now as I'm like 28, we're approaching 30, we're an adult, it's fully happening. And so I'm like, anytime I'm like, oh man, I'm like having a weird moment, I'm sad, I'm down, I'm just like, yeah, but we got this at the core. We know this is who I am, so let's get back into that headspace. Yeah, I would say probably young Franny Meet the Robinsons. She's my girl. I do love Toph, but Toph is a little too headstrong. I'm guilty of being this, and she's like, I can do it by myself. Like, I carry my own weight. I get it. I do that too, but it's also like nice to have friends, and I do love people, and I like being in love, and I do like girly things. I do love shopping. I like good shoes. I like getting my hair done. I just started being a nail girl like a few months ago. It's so much maintenance, but it's fun. So, you know, things like that. I feel like Franny probably, you know, she grew up and she had her cool dresses and stuff. So yeah, Franny and Meet the Robinsons is definitely my closest gal, probably. Yeah.
So do you know the oh, she doesn't. Do you want me to talk?
Yeah.
I've been, you haven't been here. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. Do you have